All right, page 7, number 7, deep breaths. This one, we introduce a breath mark, which is a comma or apostrophe looking object, and that just symbolizes to take a breath. So think of pouring water into a cup. You're going to fill it from the bottom up. We want the same thing when we take a breath in. So that way we can get the most expansion, most air into our lungs as we can. So this one, it's going to sound, if I were to sing it, ta, ta. So we're playing for 4 beats, take a breath somewhere in there before we sing our next 4 beats through there, and then we rest for 4. So we have that same pattern all the way through. And it's just we're using the 3 notes that we learned on page 6, E, F, and G. So here is number 7, deep breaths. And 1, 2, ready. Alright, and so it's just taking a breath through there. They might not need a breath, but still practice taking a breath so you do it when you see that symbol, and if you're running out of air, it's a nice little lifesaver for you. Number 8, rhythm time. We introduce half notes here, and half notes, as you can imagine, would be half of a whole like we were playing earlier. So whole notes we're getting 4 beats. Now with half notes, we're giving them 2 beats of sound for each one that we see. So for the beginning of measure, or number 8, rhythm time, we have 3 half notes to start with. You're going to pretend like you're saying ta 3 times, and they're going to last 2 beats each. So it'd be ta, ta, ta. Alright, and then right there where I ended is a half rest, which is also going to get 2 beats. So the first name should line up in the number of beats. The difference is if it's a note, it's going to get sound. If it says rest, it's going to get silence. But you don't want to rest too much because you might forget where you are and be slow coming back in. So here is number 8. I'm going to sing it first. Alright, here's number 8. And 1, 2, ready. Ta, ta, ta. Ta, ta, ta. Ta, ta, ta. Ta, ta. Alright, and they threw in some whole notes in there just for a little bit of variety, and in the case there in the middle, they're giving you a chance to practice taking a breath after playing a few more notes. So here is number 8. We're going to play it on an E, which again is your thumb in the back covering that hole, and then your first hole up top there. Alright, with your first finger, that's how we play an E. So here's number 8, rhythm time. And 1, 2, ready. Alright, and so when you're using your tongue on a clarinet, you want the tip of your tongue to touch the tip of your reed, okay, that piece of wood that they're blowing onto, so that way it gives that separation and stops that air just for a brief second enough to say, hey, here's the beginning of something new, so it doesn't just mold all together and become a really long note like a whole note. So that's the big thing to watch. There's some kind of beginning to each of those notes, so you know when they start. And that'll help as we add in more of these notes coming out. So number 9, as you can, if you take a look, it uses the exact same pattern of half notes, half rests, and whole notes that number 8 used. They just add in a variety of notes feeding off of what we did on page 6 with E, F, and G. So here is number 9, half note rock. And 1, 2, ready. hopefully you could hear that separation, ta, 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 to help begin each of those notes. All right, number 10, sight reading challenge step in. Sight reading is the key term that they're using here, and that is just seeing something for the very first time and trying to play it. As you can tell, we're sight reading stuff every day, looking at something new. And so once we read it for the first time, we're not really sight reading since we've seen it already. So now it's just a matter of practicing and working on it. They just want to see how you can do the first time through something as you're playing this. So now they mix up more of the notes. You don't have 3 E's in a row or 3 F's in a row. Now it's maybe like that first couple measures, F, E, F through there. So mixing things up a little bit. So I'm going to sing through my letter names or my note names first and move my fingers for some extra practice. And then I'll go ahead and play it. So here is number 10, at least singing the note names and moving my fingers. And 1, 2, number 10. F, E, F, F, G, F, F, E, F, G, F, F. All right. And as it says, it's got a little triangle bullet point to take note of. Always carefully inspect music before you sight read it. So just looking through it, make sure you know everything that's in there. If not, ask a question. Kind of give yourself a mental run through of it. Be like, hey, practice it once with your fingers, and then play it, just to see how you do. So here is number 10, sight reading challenge, playing. And 1, 2, ready. Alright, there was number 10. As you might have heard, I had a little squeak there towards the end. And the squeak is just a little bit too much air going through or something else goofy happening in the mouth, between the mouth and the mouthpiece. So if that happens, do your best to carry on. Squeaks are going to happen. And just over time, hopefully those squeaks become less and less, and then you don't have them except for maybe every couple of weeks or something. So squeaks happen. Don't worry about it. Happened to me. All right, so number 11, El Camino Mariachi. It's a duet, so if you and a friend got together, you could play this at the exact same time. One person could play the A line, which is up top, and then the other person could play the B line, which is on the bottom. Obviously, I'm not that skilled to try and play them both for you at the same time right now, but I'm just going to play them line by line for you so you get an idea what they sound like as you're working on them at home. So here is the A line of El Camino Mariachi. And 1, 2, and 1, 2, here it is. There was the A line, number 11. Now here's the B line. And 1, 2, ready. There's another one. As you heard, a little miscue there towards the middle of the B line, and that stuff kind of happens. So, you can always go back and try it again to make sure you can do it without squeaks, or maybe it's that one spot and something particular is happening in there. All right, number 12, cuckoo. This is meant to mimic a clock a little bit. So watch out. As you can see at the beginning, it jumps between a G and an E. So making sure your fingers press down on those keys, those holes at the exact same time is really key, or else you get something goofy like. So you want to make sure they just come down together. then it just takes a little bit of practice knowing, okay, those got to move at the same time, kind of like a claw, reaching out to grab something. All right, so here's number 12, cuckoo, or cuckoo, and 1, 2, ready. Alright, there's most of page 7. Be on the lookout. Maybe before the next video I'll do a little bit of number 13 to give you a chance to echo what I'm playing and take a guess at what I'm playing. So good luck in your practicing.